Hi, everybody. Now we're in the hallway behind the radio and television booths here at Oracle Park. And as you walk down this hallway, you're going to see the history of the baseball team. From the announcers to my left here on this side of the wall, here's the great Russ Hodges, who was the announcer for the Giants back in the 40s and the early 1950s. When the Giants won the pennant in 1951, Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world. Russ Hodges had that incredible call. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. So that was the great Russ Hodges, who is in the broadcast wing of the Hall of Fame along with our very own Dave Niehaus. Mike Krukow is the current television broadcaster for the Giants. When I was in the minor leagues in 1975, my first job in baseball, I was a clubhouse guy in Alexandria, Louisiana, and I did 3 innings of play-by-play. And Mike was a young pitcher in the Cubs organization. He went on to pitch for the Cubs and also the San Francisco Giants. John Miller, our great friend, who's in the Hall of Fame, won the Ford Frick Award back in 2010. Tim McCarver was here. The great Al Michaels was here. Joe Morgan, who did a lot of national games on television with John Miller. And on this wall, you got all the great players who played for the Giants down through the years. Monty Irvin, one of the great players who finally, along with Jackie Robinson and with so many other black players, finally got an opportunity to have a chance to play in the big leagues. Carl Hubbell did the great screwball, pitched in the All-Star game and struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Mel Ott, one of the great home run hitters in the game of baseball. And I love this picture right here because here are 5 of the greatest players to ever put on a San Francisco Giants uniform. First of all, Willie Mays, who I got to know, one of the nicest men I've ever met in the game of baseball. Some say the greatest player to ever play the game, along with, in my mind, King Griffey Jr. And here's Willie McCovey, the great first baseman. Orlando Cepeda, the baby bull, Hall of Famer. Juan Marichal, one of the great pitchers in the game of baseball. And my buddy, Gaylord Perry. He wound up as Seattle Mariner in 1983, my first year in the big leagues, his last year in the big leagues. And Gaylord occasionally was accused of throwing a spitball. He put a little Vaseline on the ball. He'd have it here or on the tongue of his spikes. And in 1982, he was pitching for the Mariners, and he was looking for his 300th career win. He's pitching against the New York Yankees. Willie Randolph comes up, hits a ground ball to Julio Cruz at second base. Julio gets the ground ball, and he takes about 2 or 3 extra crow hops, finally throws the ball to first base to get the out. And we were wondering why it took so long to throw the ball. Well, Julio said, I had to find a dry spot on the ball before I could throw it. It was just covered with Vaseline. Now, in 1983, we're in Milwaukee. Robin Yount hits a ground ball to Todd Cruz over at short, through to first base, about 10 feet over the first baseman's head, about 10 rows back in the box seats at first base. Gaylord, of course, wins the ball game. We go in the clubhouse at Old County Stadium in Milwaukee. I said, Gaylord, usually when somebody makes air behind you, you get upset. What'd you tell Todd? He said, I told Todd, next time throw it on the dry side. Thank goodness the ancient Mariner wore a Mariners uniform at the end of his career. Some of the greatest players right here in the history of the San Francisco Giants in this one picture. And one of the greatest of all time right here, number 24, the great Willie Mays.